So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube? It's out here from Zephyr Games, bringing you a test stand video for Fire Fist. Now obviously this is the most hyped deck from Fist of the Gadgets. It got a lot of cool new cards. If you haven't seen the combo video that Jerome and MST TV did from Worlds, go check that out. That'll give you a basic guide of those two combos with Panda and Raven and Tenki and Elephant. If we open up those cards in our opening hands, we will of course do those combos as well. Now the reason we do test stands is purely so you guys at home, whether you're going to be playing against this or playing this deck, can see how it interacts, when the best time is for you guys to interact with the deck itself, and kind of the outcomes and boards it can push for and play towards. One big thing you have to keep in mind with this deck is when Nibiru comes out next week in the gold tins, this is a very susceptible deck, but it does have its own built-in protection against it, and that is of course the Ritual Monster. So you need to be able to get to your Ritual Monster within the first 5 summons as well, so keep that in mind. But without further ado, after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, we're going to be 2 test stands going first and 2 test stands going second, starting with Panda, Spirit, Dragon, Tenki, and Call by the Grave. All in the glare there for you. There, I'm going to move that out of the way. So, this isn't a bad hand. It's not the best hand. We would have liked to have Raven, but because we've got the Tensu, we do actually get a free summon off of Panda. And what you're going to need to do is you are going to need to normal summon your Spirit. Now we don't get additional pluses off of this, which is the biggest issue right now. But with Spirit, what we can do is we can turn this into Solomon Great Almanage. And obviously we haven't used Panda's effect yet. This only locks you out from the rest of the turn. What we're then going to use is we're going to activate Tensu, which will then trigger Panda. Now the best thing about Panda, if you watch Jerome's video, is there's no response to Ghost Ogre on this because it actually summons simultaneously. So once the effect goes through on hand, it doesn't then activate again on the field, so it can't be Ghost Ogred. So what we would then do is we summon out Panda because we activated Tensu. I'm just going to bring everything down a little bit out of the zones. Actually, let's put Almirage up there, that up there, that there. Then, of course, Panda is going to resolve and bring Spirit back from the grave. We'll put this over here, far out of the way. We still obviously haven't used Tensu's additional normal summon effect yet, so we're then going to link Panda and Spirit together and go into the best new card, and that is of course Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Eagle. This is basically the Foolish Burial of the deck, and it also allows you to pay or play your Fire Fist monsters' effects for free, which means you don't have to send your Fire Formation spells and trap, which is great. We will use the first effect of Eagle to bounce Tensu back to hand. Now Tensu is not you can only activate it once per turn, it is you can only gain its effect once per turn. So because we haven't gained its effect yet, we can still activate it and gain it the additional normal summon. Eagle is going to send Rooster, and that is your Foolish Burial for that one. We're then going to activate our Tensu again, and we're going to normal summon off of our additional normal summon our Dragon. Now obviously the way you could have done this before is you could have normal summoned Dragon prior to this. Actually, that probably would have been the better way. So before bouncing this back, because this isn't on summon, this is its own effect to bounce it back, is we would normal summon Dragon, bounce back the Tensu to send the Rooster, then activate the Tensu again, giving us just a boost, just the fact that we've activated it. This will then trigger Dragon. Dragon can then set the brand new trap card, which is Ultimate Fire Formation Sinto. This is your counter trap that negates any spell trap is activated while you control a Fire Fist monster and a Fire Formation spell or trap card. We can then use Dragon's effect for free because we have the Link monster on board, and that of course will allow us to summon back Rooster. Rooster's effect will then go off on the summon, and that will allow you to search out a Fire Fist monster. Now obviously we've used all of our normal summons from our hand, so what you want to be using is searching yourself out the Ritual monster. Purely because we can then use Rooster's second ability to set the Fire Formation spell or trap directly from our deck, and we are going to search Domi, which is of course the ritual spell, so we're going to set that directly from our deck. Now of course from this hand it hasn't been the best because Raven would have let us to extend a little bit further, but it's still been very good nonetheless. We've had a Call by the Grave should our opponent try to interrupt us with Ash or anything. If they haven't opened up with anything like that, we then get to set that. We then get to activate Domi, and Domi will allow us to ritual summon a land, and we summon a land by getting rid of Rooster and Dragon. So they'll then go to the graveyard. Now, obviously, we have emptied our hand, but we do have a negation with a land of a monster spell or monster effect. Sorry, we then have a spell or trap negation with Sinto, and then we do also have a Call by the Grave for a little bit more. And then, of course, going into our next turn, we do have more abilities, hopefully whatever we top deck as well. And we have protection from Almanage on top of that. So it's got a nice bit of protection to play around with and a nice couple of interruptions. So that was it for test turn number 1 and building up your board. Ideally, what you want to see is, of course, what we've just seen there, which is your best ideal board, no matter how many cards you've used in your hand, is to end up with the Ritual Monster for a monster negation and, of course, the Trap card, which you can get a numerous amount of ways. Okay, so moving on to our second test hand, going first. We're going to try and replicate the first turn where we want to get 2 interruptions and a bit of protection as well. So after a very decent shuffle and a very decent cut, our opening hand of 5 will be Dragon, Tenki, Sinto, Leopard, and Raven. Now, Raven with the Tenki is good. It's not the best, but it still gives us a lot to play around with. It also means that we can search out Elephant. So this is the combo that Jerome showed off, but he had Tenki and Elephant. Doesn't matter which way around you have it, as long as you end up with a 5 formation spell, ideally Tenki, and then either Raven and or Elephant. So we activate the Tenki, use Tenki's effect, of course, to search ourselves out at the brand new card, which is Elephant. We then normal summon Elephant, and using his effect, we send Tenki from the field to the graveyard, which allows us to special summon Raven. We're then going to use Elephant's second effect to put Tenki back into the deck and search ourselves out the other brand new card, which is, of course, Panda. We're then going to link together our Elephant and our Raven and go into the brand new Eagle. There we go, you can go up there. That will then trigger Raven's effect to search ourselves out or set ourselves a Tensu, which is great because it can't be ashed. So we're going to set our Tensu right there. Now we're going to activate the Tensu without triggering Panda's effect first, just so that we can use Eagle's effect to send Tensu back. Actually no, we can do the same thing. We can do the exact same thing now. So we're going to normal summon the Dragon, so we get Dragon's additional effect off as well. And we're going to return the Tensu to our hand using Eagle's effect to send Rooster from our deck to the graveyard. We're then, of course, going to activate the Tensu again. That will then, of course, trigger Panda. Now let me just double check Dragon. If it's a once per turn, you can send 1 5 formation. Once per turn, if you activate a 5, so it's an if, we get the effect of Dragon as well. So we'll go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, because obviously they can't really interrupt Panda. It's not really summoning or ashing or anything, and obviously Dragon is setting as well, so it doesn't really matter massively. We're going to try and get ahead of the curve. Ideally, you would set Sinto, but because we've already got Sinto in hand, we're going to set one of the other cards. Now we're going first, so we want to go with Domi. This just means you get an additional search off of Rooster as well. This, of course, then resolves with Panda coming onto the board. We'll try and keep him away from the link zones. Panda's effect will then trigger to revive Rooster. Rooster's effect will then trigger to allow you to search the Ritual Monster from your deck to your hand. There we go. So we get to add a land to our hand. We could then use Rooster's second effect. Obviously, because we've got the link, we don't have to send anything. And that will allow us to play another Fire Fist. Now we're going to go with the field spell on this one. You could, of course, go with Tensu if you want to as well for a little bit more protection and kind of go from there. Now the best thing about this is Dragon is not a hard once per turn again, so if you get rid of it and bring it back, you still get to use its effect. We are going to use Dragon's effect on this one exactly to bring back Elephant. That will then put 1 token onto the Ling Peak. We're then going to overlay Dragon with, of course, our Tiger King. Now, the one thing that you can do to get Tiger King's destruction effect to go off is get a bear on board. And obviously, that takes a little bit more play and a little bit more of a round start to make that happen. So we're not going to be doing that now, but it is something that if you open up the opportunity to do so and you're able to get it to the graveyard, you can revive it with Dragon, make sure you overlay with a different rank 4 and play it from that way. So Tiger King's effect is going to go off first away, and that's going to let you set another fire formation card. So we can go with 10 cent on this one. You can go for the fusion card if you want to as well. That's entirely up to you, whichever one you think will be more effective against your opponent that you're playing. Because it is the newer one, we will go for the fusion one, which is IGen or InGen. So this will be set here, and obviously we've got the ritual set over there. Now the fusion is great because you just use any 2 Beast Warriors. The ritual needs to obviously exceed its level, which luckily because we've got Leopard in hand, we can do exactly that. The disappointing thing with Tiger is because it is, well, it's not disappointing in the sense that if it wasn't, it would be busted. Is that it's a when effect, so if you use it to link, it will miss its timing from what I understand. And I believe the same thing would happen when it's ritual summoned as well, because the materials go off the board and then the summon happens. So the summon is the last thing to happen, not Tiger King being sent, whereas with Bear, once you destroy it, the effect goes off. Anyway, so that puts us into this position here, and what we can do is we can use the Domi to fusion summon either these 2 here. Ideally you want to keep Panda on board, and you can get rid of Leopard. We could even get rid of Tiger, to be honest. If you want to overextend, you can, but for the ritual, sorry, we're doing a ritual, so we can get rid of Rooster and Panda. And that will get you your land down. That gives you obviously a bit of protection there. And then of course, if you wanted to fusion, you would have to use your Tiger King just to get that on board, but you don't necessarily need to because you can now set your Sinto. Hold on to the fusion. This of course can be the Tensu. If you don't feel that you're going to get into ritual, this can easily be the Tensu. Always get him mode up. Tensu, 10 Sen, sorry. So this could obviously be the 10 Sen. It's entirely up to you on which one you want to play with. And then you pass your turn. Of course, we've managed to replicate with 1 less protection, but we've been able to, we've got a monster negate, we've got a spell and trap negate, and we've got a nice little plus off of 10 cent as well, which give all of these a nice additional boost. Of course, if you do go into the fusion as well, the best thing about that is if you are in time, you go into the fusion, you can burn your opponent for 200 each. On top of this, I believe this got into 1, 2, 3, so 3 more tokens on this. So if we get it to 6, we get to add a Beast Warrior. If we get it to 10, we get to summon 1 from the deck, extra deck or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is why we can get into Gladiator Beast, Hercules. I call it Hercules, it's just easier for me to remember. Alternatively, you can, and Joe pointed this out the other day, for a beat stick, more of a beat stick, less of protection, you can go into Elder, or you can go for 4. One of the Nordic gods, which is great because it is a Beast Warrior. It's stronger than Heracles as well. It does only negate monster effects, whereas Heracles negates spells and traps. So that's where you kind of go with that one as well. Okay, so we're going to go into our 3rd test stand, and this is going to be the first one going second. So it will show what that 6th card can get involved. As you can see, how important the Link 2 is. That is one of the main targets you want to be hitting with your Effect Veiler if you open it up. It does not trigger, it'll only trigger by sending to the graveyard, so that's where you could ogre it, but if they're playing safe, they can hold back on that. Other than that, Nibiru will absolutely wreck a Fire Fist board. You've just got to make sure that you drop it on them before they ritual summon. So once they set that ritual summon spell, you know it's coming. That's where you want to Nibiru them. So, cool. So after a decent shuffle and a very decent cut, our first test stand going second will be Elephant, Buffalo, Raven, Eland, Leopard, and Ash Blossom. Now, the biggest issue with this is we do not have a continuous spell or trap, so the Elephant combo isn't as strong. It would mean we'd have to use Leopard for our normal summon, get into our Tensu. We're going to play it out, see how this goes. I'm not 100% sure how far I can go with it, but we'll see. So we're going to go Leopard. Leopard is going to tribute itself, and then we're going to set the Tensu directly from our deck. We're going to activate the Tensu so we can get our additional normal going. And by doing so, our additional normal will, of course, be Elephant. Elephants will trigger to special summon out Raven by spinning this to the graveyard. Oh, hello. There we go. And we'll then use Elephant's effect to spin Tensu back to the deck. And that, of course, will get us Panda. There we go. And then we're going to link Elephant and Raven together into our link 2 of Eagle. That will then trigger Raven's effect to set us a Tenki, because we haven't used that yet. Now, obviously, this is where you can't technically use Eagle's effect because you can't activate Tenki again. So it's whether or not you want to activate it to go for the panda play, or whether you want to send it to get the eagle play. Now, if you don't want to search anything out, which technically right now, because we've already used both our normal summons, we don't need it. So maybe it would be better to go for a Tensu again, or let's go for the field spell. I think the field spell is just as good if we've used up our Tensu. So we'd activate the field spell, use Eagle's effect to bounce the field spell back to our hand to be able to send Rooster. You could send Dragon if you want to. I'm trying to think if Dragon will be more helpful to us right now. Rooster would give us a search and ritual spell. I suppose we'll go for Dragon because we're going second. That'll give us more of a power play. There we go. And then we're going to activate Fire Fist atop Liang Peak, which will then trigger Panda. Panda will special summon himself down and then revive Dragon. Now, from my understanding, because this was all in one, I believe Liang Peak will only get one counter. If it gets more than one counter, then let me know. But other than that, I think one counter is exactly what it gets. Because we've got the link to, we can actually use Dragon's effect for free, and that will revive us one of these monsters. Let's go with... We're going for the rank 4, so we're going to bring back Elephant. We'll then overlay these guys here and go into Tiger King. And we're going to use Tiger King's effect on Summon. This is where we can get the Tenki if we want to. Otherwise you can go for the Sinto. But we're probably going to go for the In-Gen because we want the Fusion for additional power plays. And then by using Buffalo as one of the Fusion materials as well, we'll get an additional search, additional summon for that. So we can detach off of the Tiger King to nuke basically everything or negate all the monster effects. Could have gone into Peacock with those two as well to be a bit defensive. It really depends on what board you're facing against, so keep that in mind. We're going to keep Panda on the board and we're literally just going to go for a little bit more. So what did we do? We got Liang Peak got 1 there. It would have got 2 off of Elephant and then 3 off of the Tiger King. We're then going to activate InGen for the fusion spell, sending Buffalo in a land from our hand to the graveyard. And that lets us fusion summon Swan. This then goes up to 4. Now, Swan's effect is only during the battle phase, unfortunately, but it is also when it's special summoned. Inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each fire formation spell or track you control. So we deal 400 damage because we've got the InGen and we've got the Liang Peak. Then, during the battle phase, quick effect, you can send 1 face-up fire formation spell track card you control to the graveyard. So 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it, and obviously we don't have to send because we've got Eagle. Now our board is currently sitting like this. We do also have the ability to bring back Buffalo, because Buffalo would usually send 2 fire formation spells and traps from our field to the grave to revive itself. But because in this one, we get to bring him straight away, which is very, very cool. You've just got to get into the graveyard. But you can only use it once per turn. This then allows us to go into battle. Now, because we've only got 5 tokens on the Liang Peak, we can't use its second ability, but its first ability is if your Beast Warrior monster attacks this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step, so that gives you a bit more additional protection as well. Battle phase, Chain Swan's effect, don't have to send because of Eagle, pop a card. We're then swinging in for 27, 22, 18, 23 and 18 there, so that's pretty much game. If you wanted to go a little bit further, you could, before you do, no, because you have to do Swan to get this in graveyard, you could get rid of these and go into a Peacock, or get rid of these and go into a Peacock if you need to steal one of your opponent's monsters. It really depends, but because we've already Tiger Kinged, pretty much everything is negged. And then we've got a nice Ash in our hand to stun our opponent during their turn as well. Plus our Liang Peak is already up to 5, so by the time we've used our second turn, or our next turn after this, we could probably get it up to 10 and get a Hercules on board to kill the game off, basically. Okay, so now we're going to move into our final test hand going second. And again, we're going to try and repeat the feat, OTK, if not do it a little bit better, and kind of see where we can go from there. So again, after a very decent shuffle and a very decent cut, I'm going to make sure it's nice and shuffled. Our final hand of 6 will be Spirit, Tenki, Elephant, Raven, Bear, and Panda. That's actually an insanely good hand. We've already got like the Panda combo there with the Panda and Raven. We've also got the Elephant and the Tenki plays Now, the one thing I've got to do that I'm not 100% set on is how to do the bear combo. That's where it gets very, very interesting and quite powerful. So, let's start off with, I think the elephant combo is just the more powerful. So we're going to go with the Tenki, and we're going to search out a dragon. There we go. Get ourselves that dragon. We're then going to use elephant's effect, or normal summon the elephant. Use the effect of elephant to send Tenki to the graveyard to summon out the raven. Then spin the Tenki back. You might as well deck fin while you can to add a second panda. And then, of course, link these into the link 2. There's your eagle there. Trigger Raven's effect to get you your Tensen. Set your Tensen, activate your Tensen, use Eagle's effect to bounce it back. Now, this is a way where you could, obviously, if this was still in deck, you could send the bear. But we've also got the dragon in hand, which is going to give us additional extensions as is of our normal summons. So, if we send our Rooster, Rooster can get us the fusion spell and the ritual play as well. So, we're going to send the Rooster. So I've done it the other way around again. We should activate Tensu, normal summon this first before spinning it back. That's something I've got to keep remembering on myself. Because then it means when you trigger this, you activate Dragon's effect. And Dragon can get the fusion spell for you, which means Rooster can get the full ritual combo going as well. So we're going to get the InGen, set the InGen. Then we spin back the Tensu, send the Rooster, activate Tensu again, trigger Panda. Panda's effect summons back Rooster. Rooster's effect triggers on summon to search you out a land. Then you use Rooster's second ability to set the Domi. There we go. Dragon's effect, to revive Elephant. You could, of course, if you want to revive Raven, you go into your rank 3 play. Now, Cardinal is a nice little option because you detach 2 materials and target 2 Fire Fist formation cards in your graveyard and or face up on your side of the field, and 2 cards your opponent controls in their or in their graveyard, and shuffle them into the deck. So you get a nice little bounce back should you want to choose that option. I'm going to go with the Tiger King option purely because that is just the standard route play right now. So the Tiger King, we're going to put him over here. We're going to use Tiger King's effect to set one directly from our deck, and we might as well go for the... I mean, at this point, if you think so far ahead, the first set you did off a dragon could actually be the field spell. So let's say it was the field spell that we set and played off the dragon. Just trying to think how many more we could get. Dragon brought back... so dragon brought back elephant, which would have been 1. And then... Panda was 2. Panda and Rooster count as 1. And then Tiger King would be 3, I believe. I believe that's how it kind of works. I'm trying to backtrack in my head to get that one right. And then you can detach material, send in Dragon to the graveyard to neutralize everything. And what we want to be able to do is we want to try and send some of these as well. If we send these, we get a nice little monster reborn off of the Domi. So that's another option you can play around with. And that's where you can kind of get the bear back. Is if you have the ability to do this, you get the bear back from the graveyard, pop this, go into your 2 rank 4s. And again, like I said, for these test stands, that's definitely something that I need to learn a bit more in depth before I can display it to you guys. Anyway, we're going to activate the... What we got left on board. We've done that. We've neutralised everything. We've got 21 there. Got on this. So if we go for the ritual, a land over here. So we're going to activate the Domi. Keep that set. We're going to use Rooster and we're going to use Panda in our hand. We are literally overkilling now, just to kind of go that little bit step further. We're then going to InGen. InGen, of course, will fuse Bear and Spirit in our hand for the fusion monster. That comes down there. So another 2, so we go up to 5 on here. Swan's effect will then trigger to burn our opponent for 2, 4, 6, 8. We can then go into battle phase. Battle phase, Swan's effect to send Domi to the graveyard. You can revive Bear and do plays during the second your main phase 2, or of course if you're going for damage, you go with Panda. You then go, obviously still in battle phase, you've got 28, 23, 24, 19, 26, and of course 23. If your opponent did try to activate any monster effect, you could use a land to send that instead, and then that's where you can bring back your bear and start doing your effects off of there. So it's a bit more interactive, but it really, really depends. That will then, of course, put Lang Peak up to 6. And because we've already on 2, they can't activate anything during the battle phase anyway. So we've got a nice bit of disruption, nice bit of power, and that's definitely an OTK right there. Obviously, the biggest issue that the Fire Fists have is building the board, is being able to stun or break your opponent's board. And I watched some of Lithium's videos, and of course, like I said, the Nibiru wrecks this deck so hard. But then a top deck of the new Spell Skill Drain can obviously spare this deck as well. So that is it for the test hands. Sorry if some of the plays were a little bit rusty. I'm still testing out the new cards myself. It is an incredible amount of fun. I love Fire Fist. I actually won my first Zephyr Locals with old school Fire Fist, which is a nice thing to kind of do. So yeah, I'm going to be playing with these quite a bit. I want to see how far I can get them to go, just understand it a little bit more. And like I said, I need to personally figure out the bear combo myself. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more there so you can see the deck. I need to work out the bear combo a little bit more myself, and how it kind of works and operates. But other than that, I hope this kind of helps. I hope it gives you an idea of the kind of plays that the Fire Fists do. I also hope it helps you understand when you should interact. Like I said, the majority you want to interact with is Eagle, because most of the resources are going to go into Eagle to build up the board. And as soon as you effect Veiler this, or Ghost Ogre if they decide to send, you put them in a lot of trouble. Ash is not a mass effect against this deck, purely because majority of the cards are set in directly from the deck. So it does give you a bit to kind of consider when you're siding for this matchup as well. But yeah, that is it. If you've been able to get hold of your pandas and your elephants, they're sitting at about 20 quid each right now. Dragons are still sitting about 20 quid each as well. So it's definitely something to consider if you want to be playing this deck. I'm going to have a lot of fun playing with it, and it'll be interesting to see how it does in the meta. As some people have mentioned, it is quite fragile, or the combo is quite fragile. But if you do go off and your opponent can't stop you, you are going to put them in a lot of trouble. But that is it for the test hands. I hope you liked it. I hope it gave you a couple of ideas. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Again, like I said, we are crawling towards that 15,000 subscriber mark. So let's keep that up. I would love to hit that before our 4th year anniversary, which is in January as well. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And as always, guys, happy dueling. What's up, YouTube? Dad here from Zephyr War Games. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always, guys, happy dueling.